Today we want to tell y'all a story. And you know, a lot of people hit us up because we are human and we're not perfect. And you know, our son was murdered. And so this story really sticks with me. And it's something I talk about a lot when I tell people about Big Sur, our son, Alex, that was murdered. One thing we had to learn to do was forgive the murderers. And that was hard. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And that's coming from a guy that used to have, you know, drug addictions and live wild and did steroids and loved to fight. The hardest thing I probably ever did was forgive the guys that murdered my son. But this story will tell you how I learned to forgive them, and I think Amy feels kind of the same way. So there was this man. He was rich beyond compare. And his wife had passed away during childbirth, and the only thing that he had that mattered to him in this entire world was his daughter and a vase that his wife had handmade that sat above his mantle. This man owned a multi-billion-dollar conglomeration of companies. There was nothing he couldn't do, nothing he couldn't buy, nowhere he couldn't take his child. I mean, he was, you know, the Joe Bezos of the world. He was that guy. Elon Musk, people like him. And one day he's halfway around the world on one of his private jets, and his nanny calls him, his housekeeper, and he can hear his little girl in the background screaming. Now, keep in mind, he loved this little girl more than anything else, her and that vase. And she's just screaming. And if you've ever been around a child that's screaming, you know the difference in a scream of pain and a scream of fear. And this little girl was screaming in fear. And he's trying to understand what the housekeeper's telling him, and she's trying to explain to him, and all he can hear is, Daddy, please, help me, Daddy, please, Daddy, I don't know what to do, please. And his heart starts breaking. He's 4 or 5 hours away, you know. And he said, all right, tell me what's going on, baby, what's going on? And she's like, Daddy, I got my hand stuck in the vase. And he's like, you mean the vase on the shelf, the vase your mama made? She's like, yes, Daddy, yes, I got my hand stuck in the vase and I can't get it out and I'm scared. And his heart starts breaking because these are the two most priceless things to him in the world, the only two things he can't buy or pay for. And so he immediately gets on the phone with his housekeeper and he says, look, I want you to call a plumber. Get the plumber over there. I want you to call a doctor. I want you to call anybody you can call, a veterinarian, anybody that has anything to do with something getting stuck. I want you to call a mechanical engineer. I don't care how many thousands of dollars we spend. I'm on my way. So for the next 4 hours, they come in one at a time. The plumber comes in, he can't get her hand unstuck without breaking the vase. The electrical engineer, the mechanical engineer come in. He has a doctor come in. He has an oral surgeon come in. He has spent just hundreds of thousands of dollars on these people, and nobody can free this little girl's hands from this vase. And about the time his plane lands on this little private airport, he runs in, and there's this little girl. And she's got crocodile tears just pouring. And she's like, Daddy, please help me, Daddy, please. And he's asking them, I pay y'all anything, get her hand out the vase. And they're all like, sir, we've done everything we can without either cutting on her or breaking the vase. It's impossible. And she's just crying and tears are pouring from her eyes, and her daddy grabs her in his arm and he's hugging her. And she's like, Daddy, please. And then, you know, if you've ever had a child that starts stuttering when they're talking, just get my hand, Daddy, please. And it'll break a parent's heart. Just like when they murdered our boy. And so he looks at her and she's crying and she's got these tears in her eyes. And he takes her hand and he slams it on the concrete mantle. And the vase breaks into 1,000 pieces. And the little girl is just overjoyed. The fear has left. And he takes her and he puts her in his arms and he holds her and he hugs her and he loves her. And he's so relieved that he could save his little girl, even though he lost his priceless vase. And as he pushes her back and he's drying her eyes, he looks down. And he sees her hand, and her hand's balled up like this, in a fist. And he looks at her, and he says, honey, what is wrong with your hand? She says, nothing's wrong with my hand, Daddy. And he said, baby, all you had to do was open your hand. And I could have pulled it from the vase. And he takes her fingers one by one, and he pries them open like this. And in her hand, he sees a brand new shiny penny. And he just gets filled with anger. He's enraged. He is just livid at his little girl. He just broke the one thing his wife left him, the one thing he can't buy. He said, why would you do this to me? As much as I love you, why would you not open her hand? She said, Daddy, if I'd have opened my hand, I would have to let go of my penny. And see, in life, that's our problem. In life, we collect pennies. Problems, debts, addictions, pain. In my case, most of my pennies came when they murdered my boy. Our boy. But I realized something at the murder trial. And something that I hope all of you take the chance to learn today. That God can't give you any blessings until you're willing to open your hand and let go of your pennies. Because unless your hands are open, He can't fill them for you. That's today's Dirt Word.